welcome into episode 44 of WCATChats, and we're joined alongside by a special player here tonight, Kyle Coleman. After basketball moved into second in the region last night with their win over Southwest Cap. Talk to me about how that game went for y'all.
You know, honestly, the game went pretty well. First half could have been a little bit better. We had a few too many turnovers. They had a few too many second chance shots. But third quarter, second half, we came out making a lot of shots and just played really well after that.
So y'all have got Stone Mountain and Stevenson later on this week. How are those looking?
They should be pretty easy wins, honestly. We have to come out and take care of business if we want to keep the second seed in the region, which we need to. But not too worried about those games.
And then, you know, this Cats team really gets hot when they are draining threes and playing that aggressive kind of press defense. What do you think that is? Is that kind of thanks to Coach Hicks that's kind of become y'all's calling card this year? Or has it been just the group of guys really buying into it?
Even last year, we made a lot of shots. A little bit has been Coach Hicks with the aggression part and really buying into that. But I feel like this season we've been playing a lot better, a lot more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the team leaders? Are there seniors that have been stepping up and saying we need to get this done?
So this year we specifically don't have team leaders. I mean, Hayes, Carroll has kind of been stepping up, being the guy, but we don't have any known leaders. And I feel like that's honestly helped us out. Like everybody knows how to talk to everybody without getting anybody mad specifically, and it's worked out pretty well, honestly.
And then going to obviously an academically rigorous school like Westminster, and you being a scholar in yourself as well as a baller on the court, how are you able to balance those two facets of your life as well as playing baseball?
It's definitely getting ramped up, especially second semester junior year. It's really just going to office hours every day, asking a lot of questions in class, and just staying caught up. You miss a day at work, you're sick, something like that, it piles on you pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, talking about there's no leaders this year, but you're an upperclassman. How have you kind of been a little bit of a leader to, you know, some of the underclassmen, or even some of the juniors stepping up and being able to have a little bit of a leadership position?
Really, on the court and off the court, I'd say. On the court, just making sure everybody knows where they're at, making sure everybody's head's in the right place, nobody's wandering off, locked in for the game. And then off the court, just having a good time with the guys, honestly. Not being too hard on anybody. Everybody makes mistakes, and nobody wants to make mistakes. Just being able to balance that with basketball, too.
Mm-hmm.
Who has been your biggest mentor in basketball? Like, who do you look up to the most?
On the team or, like?
On the team or professionally, whichever.
Last year, I'd say it was Zeke, honestly. He was like my guy always.
Yeah. Made
sure I was in the right headspace before games. Off the court, my favorite player is Kyrie Irving. I love the way he plays and try and model my game after him, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of you talk about modeling your game and getting better at your game. You know, how do you really try to improve your game? Is there anything you're really focused on right now? Or, you know, what are you really trying to work on to get better in the future?
Right now, I'm really focused on eliminating my turnovers. I've had a few too many in these past couple games, which has hindered our performance quite a bit. Last night I did a lot better with that, and just hoping they can continue that for the future.
What aspects of your game do you feel like you've most improved over the whole season? Is it the turnovers, or is it something else as well?
I'd say this season it's been my shooting and finishing. I think this season I have one of the higher three-point averages, and I've been able to finish a lot more layups than I have been in the past.
And then do you have any favorite team tradition that y'all can kind of share here? You know, something that you really love about the team that they've been doing for years now?
Well, we just started something this year. It's after a win, we go in the locker room and we'll sing a little song together as a team.
Nice.
That's been pretty fun. Just enjoying the win with the team.
Is there any? I know you got Sam Flores as a Mac. Is there any guys who really carry the song? You know, who really are the best singers in there?
Yeah. It's Sam and Cone.
Yep.
Those two are in there singing, and we're just enjoying along.
Is it a dance party too, or just keep it a singing?
A little dance party.
Okay.
A little dance party too.
Now,
Go ahead.
okay. Do you have any specific like rituals that you do before the games?
Not really. Usually, if it's a bigger game, I like to listen to music and lock in, get my head in the right spot. But not really. Other than that, One thing I do before most games is try not to be too serious.
Yeah.
Because then you play tense and you don't play like you can or should.
Do you have a go-to pregame song or artist or anyone that you really, want to make sure that's in the queue?
Not necessarily. I like to listen to Drake.
All right.
But I got a pretty big playlist with a bunch of different artists on it.
All right. And then talking about the rest of the season, obviously number 2 in the region right now, trying to finish that way. How do you think the team is going to be able to do that and push to the finish line and eventually, hopefully, go deep in the state playoffs?
So coming up, we got 5 games in about 9 days. So it's going to be a lot. And we got 2 of those games against Druid Hills, who's number 4 team in the region, I think. So we just got to not get too fatigued and stay locked in through all of those games and hopefully come out with the number 2 seed in the region.
What is going to be the most challenging part about that? Is it going to be the back-to-back games, or is it going to be something like logistically?
Oh, it's definitely going to be the back-to-back games. And then when we don't have a game, we have practice, which we're not going to go too hard at practice. But, yeah, we got games about next week we got a game Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. I mean, and most of these 5, all the games except one of these 5 games are away.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit harder, but should get it done.
And then this year, obviously, a little bit of change. You had a new coach. Coach Hicks came in. Talk about some of the biggest changes he's made so far that have really positively helped the team.
So, offense and defense. The new offense we run, because last year we ran a lot of chin, really set up. We had to set up every play. This year we just kind of get to push the ball and just see what we get. And that way we get a lot more layups, a lot more easy, better open shots. And then defense, we run really 4 main defenses.
Yeah.
Last year, we only ran 1 or 2, but we do a lot more pressing, a lot more half-court trapping, and it's worked out a lot better for us.
What are your personal goals for the rest of the season?
Personal goals.
Or do y'all have team goals that y'all talk about every day at practice?
One of the team goals is for sure to make a run in state, like top 8. That would be great. Some of the guys, they won't go on spring break, but we need to finish out this basketball season strong.
And then kind of the saying y'all have had all year on the Instagram post, breaking down the huddles, Mercari. Meraki. I completely butchered it. What is Mercari? I don't know. I think it's some brand. But talk to me about what that kind of means to the team and kind of the story behind that.
Meraki. So at the beginning of the year, everybody had to come up with a word that was in a different language that nobody else would know about what it means to be a team, like togetherness, stuff like that. So we decided Meraki sounds good when we break it down. It just means be together, be one, be a team.
Can you talk about the importance of teamwork and communication on the court?
Yeah.
It's important.
It's very important. Yeah, you don't have communication, nobody knows where to go, and things just start to fall apart. And then if you have guys who don't like to listen, luckily we don't, but if you were to, and you start butting heads on the court, and things just really wouldn't work out at all.
So you need the dance party to keep everyone in line. Yeah. Got it.
And then you also, play baseball and whatnot. Is there anything you see kind of transfers between the two, or is it just like a fresh slate every season?
Well, you definitely do need teamwork in baseball too, but it's definitely a lot different than basketball. They'll have a lot of weeks where you'll have 4 games, so you'll need a lot of different players to play. People get hurt, so it's the same, but it's different.
Is it hard going into the baseball season late for you, or
it is?
How is that?
It is kind of hard because when I go into baseball season, they're already gonna have played 2 weeks of games, month and a half of practice.
Hopefully
so-
they played even more games who win state.
Right.
What are you gonna? You're gonna be going in like after spring break.
That's what I mean, and that's about a month into the season.
Exactly.
And I've started practicing baseball, but not near as much as I need to. I don't really have much time.
And then talking about I don't even know where I'm going with this question, but looking through your whole future of basketball. Where are you trying to go? You want to play at the next level? All that kind of things, and how are you going to try to work on that and achieve some of your goals there?
I've definitely thought about playing basketball at the next level. Yeah, I've definitely thought about it. I'm playing with a team for a part of the summer to help. I've also thought about playing baseball at the next level in college. Yeah, not too sure where it's going to take me, hopefully. But I honestly think I do want to play baseball a little bit more.
Really?
Do you have any advice for younger athletes wanting to play baseball, basketball? Like, what do they need to know?
Just keep grinding. As much as work as you put in, there's somebody out there putting more work in. Whether that's shooting, dribbling, defense, athleticism. There's always going to be somebody putting a little bit more.
I mean, thank you so much, Kyle. Good luck on this grind the next couple of weeks, and then the playoffs, and then baseball and whatnot. So best of luck, Kyle, and best of luck to the team. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right, stop me. Thank you so much, Kyle. It's great having you on here today. And we talked about it briefly, but they did get the win last night in a big region matchup against Southwest DeKalb. The gym was packed. The fans were going crazy as they got the win 57-42. Really a tremendous game to move to second in the region. Lots of things at stake thanks to that game.
And they've also got a big game coming up. Stone Mountain on Friday. The girls are also playing at Stone Mountain. And on Saturday, they're playing at Stevenson. So this will be good and be on NFHS. So tune in.
And then kind of going back to the last time that we had the podcast, Swim and Dive had their final regular season meet against Wallen. It was senior night, a tremendous time. Girls got the win 164-148, but the guys did unfortunately fall 173-131. And now it's the countdown towards state. Exactly 7 more days until they have the state championship over at Georgia Tech in the pool next Wednesday. Prelims in the morning, finals at night. Should be a good time.
Last weekend, the squash teams traveled to St. Louis, and they played in a tournament. The boys went 4-2, and the girls were 2-2. So overall, it was a great tournament for them.
And then last Friday, it was Night of Champions here. All the state champion teams honored in a halftime ceremony. And then the girls down Julia Stallworth, Stella Chartrand out. But a tremendous game as Leighton Harris got the game-winning shot with 30 seconds left. Then Noel Segroso takes the charge. Cats get possession back, and they ultimately do come out on top 43-36 in what was a thriller in the Howell Center.
So with spring sports starting, girls lacrosse has a scrimmage today against Pope at home. And the boys lacrosse team beat North Gwinnett yesterday.
Yeah, it was a tremendous win, 7-10 last night. But not to skip over all of those winter sports, wrestling competed on Saturday in the North Metro Championship. And boy, sophomore wrestler Jackson Bailey had himself a day. Jackson was up on a 15-0 tear in the finals before pinning his opponent in the second period. I mean, it truly was a tremendous match by him. If you want to watch that, that's available for you on the WCAT Twitter. But later that day, basketball took on Marist. It's supposed to be both girls and boys. Girls got canceled, so it was just the boys, up by 1 at halftime thanks to some good scoring. They unfortunately did come out of the wrong things after losing 52-42. So, not exactly. And that actually was the first losing streak of the Coach Hickson-Baum era. But during that game, the basketball coach joined NABC coaches for Suits and Sneakers Week, where the coaches all were nicely dressed up as well as wore sneakers in honor of Coaches versus Cancer. So great to see coaches using their platform to do great things.
And we've got another battle. Buckhead coming up. Girls and boys soccer have a scrimmage at Lovett tomorrow. So that'll be their opening game of the season.
Yes, and speaking of some Battle of Buckhead alumni, Carson Wilkie, the football team's punter, and the goalkeeper, one of the goalkeepers on the soccer team, committed to punt at the next level up at Colgate. So congrats to you, Carson. Can't wait to see you continuing that Kicker U legacy.
So do we want to talk about those pro sports last weekend?
Well, let's look a little bit ahead into
Okay.
the future. Girls and boys basketball for a region matchup go over to Stone Mountain on Friday, and then they're back at it again Saturday up at Stevenson. So a lot of basketball region important stuff, as well as squash is competing in nationals this Saturday. So that's going to be a big deal. Make sure to, if you know anyone who plays squash, give them, a pat on the back or something before they head up to compete for nationals. Boys trying to repeat as national champions, so a lot on the line, and they have a target on their backs. So that'll be this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And then wrestling has their region traditional tournament up at Holy Innocents on Saturday. So that's going to be, top couple teams advance to sectionals, and then sectionals happen, and then you got state. So if they can really make a deep run here and advance all the way to state, they still got a lot more time wrestling. So best of luck to the Mad Cats. Now, like you were hinting at, the NFL.
Okay, those were 2 big games this weekend.
They certainly were.
I was kind of annoyed with the Ravens. All those penalties, it was just, they could have avoided them, and they didn't. I think they just lost it for themselves.
I mean, it's hard to go up against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. I mean, that's just such a powerhouse offensive trio, as well as Pacheco had himself a nice game, 68 yards for a touchdown. And really, the problem with the Ravens, they got nothing going after that first quarter. Scored a touchdown in the first quarter. Didn't put any more points on the board until the closing minutes of the fourth quarter, where Tucker kicked a field goal. I mean, their defense was solid, right? I mean, when you hold the Chiefs to only 17 and shutting them out in the second half was great. But their offense just didn't put them into a position to win. You're not going to take down a multiple-time Super Bowl champ when you only put up 10.
Well, yeah, and the fumble in the end zone really messed them up. Lamar Jackson escaped a couple sacks, which is great, but
Yeah. And I mean, Harrison Butker, a 52-yard field goal,
I know.
which he had to close out the first half. So great job, Harrison. Can't wait to watch you in the Super Bowl. For those who don't know, Harrison Butker, an alumni of the Westminster Schools of Atlanta. And, he's already won 1 ring. Got to make it 2 now on this next Sunday.
Well, what are your thoughts on Taylor Swift attending the game, Palmer? I know you have a lot to say about this one.
I mean, she's an artist.
I don't think he's a Swiftie.
I don't have any problem with Taylor Swift. I have a playlist that has some Taylor Swift songs on it.
Okay.
I think it's funny. After the Chiefs got the win, ESPN published an article talking about all the logistics of how Taylor Swift would have to get from her concert in Tokyo to Las Vegas to watch Super Bowl. Like, talked about her private jets and, like, which one would have more range. It was a weird article on ESPN, and I think that part of it is interesting. But other than that, Travis Kelce's a dog. Taylor Swift is a famous singer who people like.
Well, I wonder if Kyle and the basketball team listen to Taylor Swift in their
Maybe that's what they sing. I wonder if
That's
they.
definitely what they sing.
I think they're
We're
in there
gonna have to
singing
ask
like
them.
"Cruel Summer" or something like
Yes,
that.
Shake It Off, definitely.
Yeah, I wonder what
In the
era
locker
is
room.
Kyle in.
What era is Kyle in? We guess we'll never know.
We should have asked him.
We should have asked.
And then moving over to the NFC side, the Lions looking like the 2016 Falcons, blowing a huge lead to fall 34-31 to the 49ers. I mean, really heartbreak in Detroit, although it was
Yeah.
obviously out in California.
I was going for the Lions. I wanted to see them win. I wanted their Cinderella story. But then at halftime, I was really liking Brock Purdy and the 49ers.
Oh, you a big Brock Purdy kind of person?
I have been now changed to a Brock Purdy fan.
I mean, Brock Purdy's like a better Stetson Bennett.
I think I love the Stetson Bennett story, and I'm liking myself some Brock Purdy.
I've been a Brock Purdy guy for a long time now as being a Texas fan. Watched him up at Iowa State, beat us a couple of times. He really helped those Cyclones have a great season. And a lot of people have been calling him a game manager. I think he really proved, although he only did go 20 for 31 and threw a pick, that he's not a game manager. They couldn't get the running game going. McCaffrey only had 90 yards, but he was able to accurately deliver the ball, including some strikes to Deebo Samuel. And, of course, that pass to Brandon Ayuk that got tipped up in the air off the Lions defender and ultimately came down in Ayuk's hands. I mean, what on earth were the Lions doing? They had more total yards, more passing yards, more rushing yards, although less yards per play. Overall, really just a heartbreaker there for them.
Yeah, second half really came down hard on them.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. I mean, it was almost 28-3-ish there.
Yeah.
And then talking about moving over to NBA, a little bit of interesting things. Steph Curry and Sabrina, a WNBA player, are going to compete in a three-point contest in the All-Star weekend on February 17th. Interesting, WNBA versus NBA. And a lot of people have been saying, I've been seeing it on TikTok. There's this one TikTok account that spreads a lot of WNBA propaganda. And, it's always all these people saying, oh, this woman is better than Steph and all this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what Steph can do and if he can kind of end it once and for all. Or if, I would take Stella Chartrand shooting threes over anyone on the guys' team, to be honest.
I agree.
Maybe Cone, right? Kind of looking. That'd be fun if we had like a little all-star weekend with just Westminster sports. I think we need to get that going.
Yeah, we should.
If we had a dunk contest, who can dunk? There's a couple of guys who can dunk. And, that's kind of it for pro sports. Spring training starting up for baseball in about 2 weeks. Atlanta United had a little scrimmage or preseason game over the weekend, so a lot of stuff. And, when spring sports get going, we'll have plenty of guests rotating in here. You got a lot of sports to cover, so it's just going to be a grind. And, can't wait for all that to happen. Looking forward to it. It's pretty much all it from us here today.
I think that's all. We covered it.
All right, thank you guys so much, and go Cats.
Go Cats.